Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. It is Tuesday. It's time to talk a little Major League Baseball. Welcome into the Major League Baseball show. One game is live already. We got 17 games to cover across the card. Exciting times, action-packed, and 1 hour to do it. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz along with Kyle Purviance. Let's get cooking and get after it. Last night for me, pitching change messed up my perfect record, rode it out. Should I have gotten 3.5 runs out of the Indians? Yes, I should have. It didn't happen, and I got more pain ready for you folks today to get after it. Jason, how you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, I went 2 for 3 yesterday, so profitable day for me. Might have to go get myself a Higashioka jersey after that performance, getting me the win in the 5th inning. He was supposed to be a fielding catcher for Garrett Cole, but stepped up in a big way last night. And, of course, the under 4.5. Everyone loves those under in the first 5 innings, and we got that cash last night. So, pretty good day. Going to have to stay away from those Giants, especially against lefties or righties. Doesn't matter who they're facing. They can't hit. And finally learned my lesson.
No, it is. And by the way, some of these teams can make your blood pressure rise, Kyle. True?
Yes, they can. It sure can. So now you're seeing a healthier, happier Kyle. Although I'm down on myself, learning that Jason's just a gym rat and doing it every single day and realizing I haven't been to a gym in like 20 years. So a little down on what I've been doing, but now I'm happier, healthier. I have a wonderful acupuncturist making sure all my health is taken care of. And those damn Reds couldn't get me one more run last night. You got to be kidding me. 3 runs in the 5th inning. Oh, good Lord. So, yeah, the blood pressure, we're keeping an eye on it. Excited for today, of course. Happy to be with you, gentlemen. And big cheers to the chat box. I'm supposed to drink less and smoke less. You know what we do. Cheers, everyone. Let's get after it.
Yep, some doubleheaders on the card today, which will hit momentarily. But one good thing that is happening here, yesterday had 84,700 subscribers. Now we have 84,800 subscribers on our way to the moon. And that moon is listed at 100,000 subscribers by football season. That is my goal. So I'll preach each and every day. If you guys come in here, like the content, we don't ask for much. Just hit the subscribe button, turn that notification bell on, because when we're talking Major League Baseball in the middle of the afternoon, you're going to want to come in the chat box and certainly say hello. Let's get after today. As I said, 17 games on the card, not a lot of time to waste. And we're going to do a double shot here in just a few moments. But we do have a live game currently right now in Major League Baseball. The Minnesota Twins here in the bottom of the 1st inning have struck first 1-0. Men on 1st and 3rd, 1 out. If we look at the live lines right here between Perez and Happ, -290 for the Twins and an over-under of 9.5, Jason, in the snow.
Yeah, that's you just said it. It's the snow. So not a game that, especially pregame, you want to bet on. I would assume a lot of people were on the under with the snow, but looks like the Twins are coming out swinging. So right now, obviously, looks like the Twins are the play right now. Did I like the Red Sox with the matchup? Yeah, I thought the Red Sox were the better matchup, but it doesn't look like it's playing out that way. So at this point, just stay away, move on. We've got plenty more games to go.
I mean, guys are wearing like Under Armour wrapped around. I'm watching Miguel Sano right here. Looks like he's in a spaceman costume. He's freezing cold out here. But we might get some runs early in this game, which is interesting because typically, Kyle, we look at a game, early start, cold conditions, can't get fully warmed up. You might be able to put a couple runs on the board here early with the Twins. Any looks here from Minnesota? -1.5, -140 is the live line. 310 now sitting on the money line, and the over-under at 9.5 as a live line.
Yeah, I really liked the Twins coming into this game before the game. Then I didn't love the Nelson Cruz being late scratch. You're like, oh boy, and it's cold weather. A lot of the power's out. Now you're not getting any value at all. I guess if you're going to bet this, I would say the run line on the Twins so you get that 1-something number. But obviously you're not going to take a -290 live betting. Who in the hell wants to do that? That is for the fish. Don't ever do that. I actually talked to a lot of friends who are like, man, I did the -290 money line on the Patriots 5 years ago. And I'm like, what in the hell are you doing that for? So first lesson, you see that number like that, stay the hell away from it, unless you're doing like MMA parlays or something like that. But no, I do like the Twins in this one. I like them to start. I guess if I was going to put anything on this, which I'm not, it would be the run line for the Twins.
I mean, Martin Perez already up to 20 pitches in the 1st inning with only 1 out, doing exactly what he does. Typical start for him feels like it's 4 innings, 4 innings, 100 pitches. And quite frankly, it looks like he's on his way. Again, a full count here to Mohamed Sano with men on first and third. So we'll keep it live here just for a few moments as we watch this pitch come in to Martin Perez. See if he can drive a run in, strike out. What's he going to do? Walks him. So we got bases loaded now. So Perez on his way to a 30-pitch first inning. We'll see if some damage comes up. -2.5 now listed for the Minnesota Twins. Money line -355. And over-under that creeps up from 9.5 on the live line. Now sitting at 10. It looks like the pitching coach already out to the mound. So here we go in Minnesota in the cold. Let's get into today's card. The games that have not started yet. The Philadelphia Phillies game was postponed yesterday. If you watch the show, it didn't look like it was going to get in, and particularly the Mets being upset that they were starting a game in the rain before. That should have told you all you needed to know. If weather conditions were bad, Mets weren't playing last night. Now we sit in the doubleheader, and looking at it from a perspective of a competitive advantage, if you were the Mets, you wanted to play last night. Phillies played late in Atlanta, got in late to New York City, got the day off, now rested and ready. We'll see if that makes a difference here. If we take a look at the first game, 9:53, 9:54. This is a 4 o'clock start here on the East Coast. Over under 7.5. Favorite here, and I'm trying to get a look at both of these. A couple of these lines are a little bit different. What lines do you guys have on this first one? Because I'm seeing Pinnacle at -149, and then I'm seeing a favorite at Bet365. I would assume the Mets are the favorite today. Correct?
I see the Mets -150. The over-under is 7.
Yep.
So
that's what I see as well.
We'll start with you first, Jason, in this game. Again, I apologize for the people that are watching the show. When doubleheaders hit, I'm out. I don't bet them at all. So we'll go over the games to see if there is an advantage. Obviously, it's a 7-inning game. You're going to see the lighter numbers there, the 6.5s, the 7s, because, again, it's only a 7-inning game. Jason, any thoughts on this game? Because I don't have one either way here between the Mets and the Phillies.
Yeah, just like you, I don't bet doubleheaders very rarely. And to keep it short, I do like Taijuan Walker in the first game over Chase Anderson. I don't know if this is an actual stat, but I think we're used to seeing one team win one game, one team win the other. And, of course, the Phillies have Aaron Nola in that second game. So I would expect Nola to get the job done in the second game. It looks like the Twins just scored another run, so it's 2-0 there. But, yeah, I think the Mets win the first game. I think the Phillies win the second game. I saw the Mets lineup for the first game. It's pretty normal lineup for what they usually send out there. So I'm assuming the second lineup will have a little bit of maybe bench players that will be playing in that game against Nola. So I would expect Nola and Stroman to get the job done. That game probably goes under. And I think maybe the Phillies-Mets game, the first game, likely goes over due to the Mets hitting off of Chase Anderson. So we'll see what happens. But again, I'm not on these games.
It's kind of interesting, too, because I'm just looking at an odds board, not particularly at a certain sports book, and even looking at the second game with the Phillies. It has one book has the Phillies a favorite. The other book has the New York Mets and Stroman as a favorite. But getting back to the first game here between Philadelphia and the New York Mets, Anderson and Walker. Not great weather in New York, but certainly better than what it was the past couple of days. Looking at that 7.5 total here. Any thoughts on this first game here between the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets?
I'm with you guys. I don't do a lot of doubleheader action. I would say I kind of favor the Phillies here. I like their lineups. I just like their lineup against right later on when we get to it. So maybe a first 5 bet if you want to do it. But I'm with you guys. When there's a doubleheader, especially now with the new rules and the 7 innings and all this, I just completely block it out. And for you guys who are playing DFS, neither one of those games are on a DFS slate, so you don't have to stress all that too much unless you're doing single game DFS in baseball, which, by the way, is also for the fish. Do not play single game MLB. You got to get real lucky and really, you got to have the home run guy in the top spots. You got to put a ton of entries in. So not a ton of interest here, I guess. Like really in both games, and we'll get to the second one. I kind of like the Phillies in both instances today, just a little bit. I'll take the first 5 Phillies at plus number if I was going to bet on this. But again, doubleheaders, I don't bet them.
Yeah, and you're actually say, well, hey, guys, you don't bet doubleheaders. Why is it up on the marquee here? Well, yesterday it wasn't a doubleheader when the show schedule came out, turned into a doubleheader after the game was canceled. So we're going to hit the second game here as well as a double deuce, 981, 982. Philadelphia Phillies here looking at DraftKings. They do have them listed as a favorite. Aaron Nola about -126. If we're looking at the Mets, plus 108 in that range. Run line for the Phillies, -1.5, plus 168. And over-under, how about that, of 5.5. Yes, keep in mind, it is a 7-inning game. Hard to bet the second part part of a doubleheader before you know anything about the first part of the doubleheader. So, Jason, I'll throw it to you in this aspect. Just looking at pitchers, I think Aaron Nola is going to get the nod over Marcus Stroman, but we don't know who's going to be in the lineup. Maybe in the first lineup here you get JT Realmuto in the lineup, but then you don't get him in the second lineup. You always have to wait and see for an approach on that second game. Sometimes you can get an advantage on the team that loses. They say, we don't get swept in one day. Let's put our full go lineup back out there. Maybe the team that wins earlier doesn't do that. Always an added advantage to take a step back and wait till you see the lineups in the second game. Early thoughts on the second game here, Jason, between the Phillies and the Mets.
Yeah, so again, like I said, Nola, the better pitcher here against Stroman. Stroman, more of a ground ball pitcher, not really high strikeout pitcher. So the Phillies can get some balls in play and maybe work the count and do whatever they got to do. And I would assume Stroman doesn't stay in there for too long, maybe 5 innings at most. So then you go into the Mets bullpen there. And with the Phillies, Nola could go all 7 innings. It's really possible, especially with the Mets, how they've hit the ball. And you're probably going to have a worse lineup in there in that second game for the Mets as well. So I'd be on the Phillies in the second game, the Mets in the first game. Usually I have to take splits in a doubleheader if I'm going to bet it. But, of course, I'm not betting this either side.
Yeah.
Usually splits are. I know a lot of people, hey, if you lose the first game, just auto bet the team in the second game. But again, it comes down to what lineup is actually going to be presented. If you burned any bullpen in the first game, used to be a lot more weighted advantage, Kyle, in these double headers, because you could usually say, hey, let's just say the Yankees burned Aroldis Chapman. He had 22 pitches in the first game. Probably not going to pitch in the second game. But the fact it's only a 7-inning doubleheader, you might literally go with those pitchers. Stroman 6 innings, Nola 6 innings, one guy comes out of the bullpen. I mean, it's a constant battle to see what your eye matches up with. 6 or 5.5 isn't a big number, even over the 7 innings. I just don't know if I see much there. What are you thinking here in that second game? Any thoughts on this one?
I'm thinking maybe a nerfy. Maybe you wait till these lineups come out and they bench some of their guys and you're not getting their strongest lineup, but you're getting 2 of the stronger pitchers for each team. Nola, of course, for the Phillies, and then Stroman, who, as Jason mentioned, good ground ball pitcher, not a big strikeout guy, but maybe you're getting a lesser lineup, no Realmuto, et cetera, in that second game. So maybe you get that no runs first inning that everyone loves to do. We did hit that with the Rays and Rangers yesterday. So maybe if I was going to make a bet on the second one, I'll do a little nerfy, get it over in the first inning, and sit back and enjoy.
I got 3 games on my team totals card that I do like today. Obviously, we'll make the decision on which one is best, which I do already know where I'm going since hence I already fired on the game. But let's take a look at one of them that's up on the board here as we switch down to another game up on the rundown, 9:59, 9:60. That game's going to start at 7:45 Eastern time. Strasburg versus Flaherty. That is the Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals. Pinnacle opened up as a -114 as a favorite towards St. Louis. Now down to 110, so not a lot of movement here. Some of the New Jersey books here, 120s opened up, still sitting at 120, 119. And over under, though, how about this? Opened up at 7.5, now down to 7. Jason, your thoughts on this game between the Cardinals and the Nationals?
Yeah, I'm more of a Strasburg guy. And, we had questions coming in to the season. Is he going to be good? Is he going to be the old Strasburg that we're used to? And, he went 6 innings pitched versus the Braves, allowed 1 hit along with 8 strikeouts, just 2 walks, dominant against the Braves. So that tells me everything I need to know about Strasburg. He looks fine. He looks good. And he's definitely the better pitcher compared to Flaherty. I think the Nationals offense, of course, not the best. Look at last year's number, a little bit better than what they provided this year so far. But I think the Nationals can definitely score some runs for Strasburg. And I think Strasburg, there's a lot of potential for him to get over on his strikeouts prop. I think it's around 6.5. And this is another thing on strikeout props. When you're looking at these strikeout props, look for guys that really limit the walks compared to and get high strikeouts, because if they're falling below in counts, 2-0 counts, 1-0 counts, that's a lot harder to strike out batters compared to 0-1, 0-2 counts. So definitely when you're looking at those strikeout props, look at pitchers that get ahead of the count, first pitch strikes. A lot easier to get strikeouts when you do that. So I think Strasburg definitely has a chance at getting over 6.5 strikeouts in this game as well. And I like the Nationals in the first 5 innings. I'd ride Strasburg today.
It's like a double-edged sword on walks with the strikeout total, because theoretically, if you walk them, it's not an out, it's a base hit. You could strike the next guy out. But then again, if you're throwing 6-ball counts, you're not going to last too long in order to get a strikeout prop. So something to keep an eye on when you move forward. Take a look at this game, Kyle, in the Midwest, St. Louis and the Nationals. Last night, the Nationals pulled off a victory. What are we looking at tonight between these two? Roughly a coin flip.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It is absolutely a coin flip. Both of these teams have had a little bit of success against the opposing pitcher, and I'll actually say St. Louis has done surprisingly well. outside of their last outing where he put up 67 FanDuel points and absolutely dominated this lineup. But really, the projected lineup, 19 for 81, a weighted OPS over the last 3 years of 998. The reason for that is St. Louis is very heavy on the righties. Strasburg struggles more against righties than he does lefties. It's kind of a weird anomaly when you just look at his 3-year averages. He's literally 14 points worse against righties than he is against lefties in terms of weighted OPS over the last 3 seasons. So there is that little bit of concern there. I don't have a ton of DFS. I do have Strasburg in my player pool and Flaherty. I think you can find some value each way if they both pitch well. I'm slightly, just when I'm looking at the numbers, leaning towards St. Louis. Don't have a strong feeling about it. DFS-wise, I don't mind Juan Soto. He's always good to go yard. And obviously, when you just look in terms of pedigree at the pitchers, Strasburg has a higher pedigree than Flaherty. So I don't think the first 5 on the Nationals is a bad pick, especially if he gets hot. 2 of his last 3 starts, he's really gotten hot on this. If you're looking for a Washington bat, I think Soto is a nice option. Trey Turner, I will say in 7 at-bats, he's only had 2 hits off of Flaherty, both of them home runs. So there's a guy that maybe you could see going yard in this game, adding some power. And a Nerfy, I'm seeing it in the chat box. I actually don't mind a Nerfy. These guys could go through one time and get through, especially if Flaherty's pitching good here at the start of the game. So a slight lean to St. Louis, but I totally understand the Washington side of it, and I don't mind the first 5 either, riding Strasburg over Flaherty.
And I just took a live over, team total over 4 plus 100 here for the Boston Red Sox. First inning, first 2 guys on, nobody out. So trying to jump it here and expect that the Boston Red Sox can get a run here in the second inning. No juice on that one, 4. I got it at FanDuel. So I'll see how this one goes as we continue throughout the show. But looking at this game between the Nationals and the Cardinals, one thing that we do have to remember, you're trying to find some outside the box leanings if you're going to fire on a game. If you're looking at the Washington Nationals, which are on my team totals board, you have to remember the reserves are coming back, and they played really well last night. Josh Bell, Schwarber, Harrison, very good players coming back into that lineup that look like dead in the water out on the West Coast. So maybe a little bit of life, and we're talking about 2 lines. Either way you're looking at this game, St. Louis Cardinals team total 3.5, Washington 3.5, and that's plus 100. Now, having said that, try to shop around as many books as you can. I have 7 books that I currently have on my monitor out of New Jersey. So you can pretty much get the line that you want, but there aren't really great alternative line options. And it hurt last night. And the reason being, the Cleveland Indians were 3.5 at like a minus, 104, plus 104, depending where you're shopping at. If a certain book was open, that number would have been 3 at about minus 130. And that loss would have turned into a push. Same thing in this game. We're looking around here trying to find some numbers on Washington's team total with BetMGM head in New Jersey is 3.5 plus 100. I would feel much better and pay an extra 25 cents or whatever, 30 cents to get that down to 3 even. It's just not available at this time. So we'll keep on managing it through. We're going to get lighter juice as the summer goes, but I don't mind paying down for an extra half run in Major League Baseball when you're dealing with a winner. A push is 4, but a winner at 4, if you catch my drift at that point. Right. So interesting stuff here as we keep it on. Always try to keep you guys in the mix of what we're doing inside and outside here in Major League Baseball. But an interesting game nonetheless there in St. Louis. Let's keep moving. Los Angeles Angels didn't have any problem scoring last night. Let's see if they ramp it up again tonight. 973, 974. Bundy versus Danny Duffy, the lefty on the mound, opened up as a total here at 9. Now sits at 8.5. Also a little bit higher bump here for the Angels, minus 125 to minus 133. Rendon to the disabled list. Didn't matter last night. Shohei Ohtani's hitting right out of the gate as well. We'll see what takes place tonight. Early thoughts here, Jason, on that game between the Angels and the Kansas City Royals.
It might be the year where the Angels actually make the playoffs and Mike Trout actually becomes a star that people can talk about, not just in the MLB. They look really good right now, and their pitching is holding up. Like I said last night, I said Cobb, if he's able to get his strikeouts up, he's going to be a great pitcher. Well, what did he do? Got 10 strikeouts. He struggled a little bit towards the end of his outing, but he was terrific for the most part in that game. So if their pitching can hold up, we know their hitting has a lot of talent in there, especially with Ohtani, with Trout, with Walsh, and obviously Rendon when he's back. So I do like the Angels in this spot. I think Bundy is a terrific pitcher. Again, high strikeouts, low walks. He has allowed 3 home runs this season, but if you go back to last year, didn't struggle with home runs at all. So I don't think it's going to be a problem for him moving forward. Ground ball rate near 42%. So he's a great pitcher, and he should do fine against this Royals lineup that just continues to strike out against everyone. So I like the Angels here. I think they get the job done. If you want to look at the first 5, it's at -150 on the money line, or you can look at -0.5 at -110. Either direction you go there, I do like the Angels here in the first 5 innings.
Yeah, taking a leap of faith on some of these, because you are right here, Jason. Taking a look, and it is early in the season, but versus right-handed pitching, Bundy comes in. Look at these strikeout numbers. Benintendi, 35%. Perez, 29%. Santana, 30%. Jorge Soler, 54%. He's at 30 at-bats versus righties. He doesn't even make contact more than half of the time. Those are some amazing numbers. Take a look at this game here, Kyle. Angels and the Royals. What are we looking at?
I love the comment in the chat box, the Rex Hudler Classic. Talk about a blast from the past, those Rex Hudler baseball cards.
Underdog.
Yeah, that's it right there. I loved Rex Hudler. I love the Angels in this spot. I like them all the way around. I like Bundy. I love their lineup tonight. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 of the projected 9 batters with an advantage here. I like their team total over 4.5. I'm looking at my bookie right now. First 5 -105, -0.5. I think that's a really nice value on the Angels first half. I think they smash Duffy tonight, even without Rendon. Trout 9 for 21 lifetime. Even the bottom of the order, Iglesias 11 of 29, a 379, 3 extra base hits, including a triple and a home run. Upton, if you want a deep sleeper for a home run prop, you'll probably get a big value on, because Upton has absolutely stunk. Let's just call it what it is. 8 of 19 lifetime off of Duffy with 3 home runs. You could probably get a really nice plus number on that home run prop. Love the Angels. Like that team total over 4.5. Love that first 5 -1.5 or -105. I'm all over the Angels tonight.
There you go. Yeah, when the offense is rolling, sometimes you can put up some decent numbers here. We'll see if it continues in Kansas City. And a terrible double play hit into by the Boston Red Sox, ruining my first inning right now, it looks like, so far. So hopefully get a base hit to salvage it. But that was a full count with men on first and second, and Vasquez with a weak grounder to third base, step on third base, throw it over to first. Double play. So hopefully get some help and somebody can pick these guys up. But let's keep moving here on the list. 975, 976 Cleveland, and the Chicago White Sox. Bieber versus Giolito. Opening line 7.5 as the total. It's now sitting at Pinnacle at 6.5, and 6.5 primarily across the board. Taking a look at some numbers here, opens up at about a 110, still staying in that same range each side. So we're looking at a coin flip scenario. Cleveland, as we know, the lineup isn't as powerful as the Chicago White Sox, but Bieber is on the mound for this one, Jason. Taking a look at this game here, are we getting Bieber at a cheap number, or are you just not trusting the Cleveland bats to come through in some clutch moments here?
So it's been weird with these 2 pitchers here, Bieber and Giolito. They have high strikeouts, low walks, but they're allowing some runs in each start. And that's what's concerning. I love the under 3.5 in the first 5. If you can get under 4 in the first 5, that's really good. But it's tricky because they haven't been their best. They've been allowing runs, and that shouldn't happen in this game. But of course, it can happen, and that's what's happened with both of these pitchers in 2 of their starts each. So I'd be a little bit weary on taking the under first 5 here, just because they've struggled a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was 0-0 after 5, and that's how it should be with both these pitchers on the mound. So yeah, be careful. But I would like the under 4, under 4.5, under 3.5, whatever you guys see there. I like it. It's just tricky with both these pitchers kind of struggling a little bit, allowing runs early on in their starts.
Yeah, Giolito's xFIP, the best on the card today at 2.10. His FIP is at 1.84, which is astronomically low. Now, we take a look at that Cleveland offense here, Kyle. There's 3 guys in the middle that are hitting right-handed pitching. That's Ramirez at 440, Rosario at 435, and Ray is at 436 weighted on base average. But outside of that, it is a barren desert. So you're either going to get some runs from the 3-4-5 spot or not much doing with Cleveland. Same thing when we take a look at the Chicago White Sox. The one good thing about them facing right-handed pitching this year, it looks like they're walking a hell of a lot. Eaton 13%, Abreu 14%, Moncada 13%, Mercedes 12%, Yasmani Grandal. Check this out. Talk about patience. 26 at-bats versus righties in 2021. He's walked 35% of the time. That is absolutely sensational. What are we looking at here, Kyle, from a perspective on the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago White Sox?
This could be another nerfy. And honestly, both of these pitchers really have really good. These are 2 of the 4 lowest weighted 3-year OPSs against the opposing projected lineup on the slate today, and they're going against each other. If I just gave you a fantasy point perspective here, Giolito's last 4 starts against Cleveland, 56, 40, 46, and 49. That's monster. Bieber's last 4 against Chicago, 52, 37, 45, and 29. So you can see these guys know we have a weighted OPS of 496 against a weighted OPS of 583. That's over the last 3 years. So I do lean the under. Now, 6.5, there's no way I'm ever betting an under 6.5 in Major League Baseball. That's just way too damn scary. And then you have to watch that game, and then you're just rooting for the most boring baseball game in the history of mankind, right? I can't do it. My soul can't handle it, and I've already got a blood pressure problem, okay? So that's why I can't do it. But I will say no runs first inning makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't even mind the under first 5. But other than that, it's real 50-50. No interest in either side of the batting orders. I will say this. For if you're playing DraftKings and FanDuel for the DFS side, a lot of people see these really good starting pitchers and they back away from those lineups, forgetting that you're still going to have probably 3 or 4 innings of bullpen where they can really change the matchups up. So maybe that lefty's facing a righty in the 7th inning as opposed to the lefty he was facing in the 5th inning. So there's some low ownership sort of spots you can take there. But all in all, it's a stay away game. I think both pitchers are in play. And guys, do us a favor. 250 people watching, only 43 thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. I don't think I should have to ask twice for that either. I like that. There you go. I like being a little stern, get my dad voice on. But no, I'll say a no runs first inning, under first 5, but mostly in terms of DFS, staying away from the bats.
Yeah, taking a look here. If you need more baseball information, there's a link right below, sbrpicks.com/MLB to get your baseball on right here. Let's get into the card. Now that the marquee games are down, let's spin it through the rest of the Major League Baseball card. 3:40 start out there on the West Coast, which obviously is, I believe, 12:40 we talking about in Arizona. Am I getting my math right here? Is it still 3-hour difference in Arizona, or is it 2-hour difference?
2 hours now. There's something with the time change. They don't do daylight savings in Arizona, something like that, so it's in between. I think it's 2 right now.
It is what it is. So we'll go with 3:40. We'll just use Eastern time, which is the only time we should ever use across the globe. See that from an East Coaster's perspective. Luzardo versus Gallen on the mound. Lefty Luzardo here for the Oakland Athletics. Opened up as a pinnacle as a favorite of -112. Still sitting around that range. Roughly a pick'em across the board. Over-under opened up at around 9 at Pinnacle. Now sits at 8.5. Opened up at FanDuel at 8.5. Still sits at 8.5. Getting a first look here. Is now a time to get on the Athletics? Or are we saying, whoa. Zach Gallen, decent little strikeout pitcher. He's got something for those Athletics today. Cheap number for you, Jason, or how are we looking in this game between the Athletics and the Diamondbacks?
So if you guys remember last year, Gallen was an under 4.5 guy. I think he hit it like 6-7 straight times for the start of the season. So I like under 4.5 in the first 5 at -130 here. You're getting, number one, you're getting Zach Gallen, who at the beginning of the year last year, people were like, maybe he can win the Cy Young. And then secondly, you're getting the Diamondbacks offense that is just really, really bad on paper and will likely be bad against Luzardo as well. So I like the under 4.5 in the first 5 if I had to choose anything in this game. Then I also think the Athletics end up winning the game towards the end of the game, so maybe money line on the Athletics there. But it's a close game. I can see it either direction. I understand those who would be on the Diamondbacks as well. But I think the best bet in this game would be the under 4.5 in the first 5 innings. I think both teams start to kind of go slow in this game.
Yeah, the thing that always makes it tough for me, because I would like to back a Zach Gallen, but then I just look at that Arizona roster behind them and say, well, who's going to do anything? Like, who can? I know it's limited to bats in 2021, but we had some fun yesterday. Tim Locastro had 7 at bats so far, leading off today, 500 ISO against lefties, which is fine. Cole Calhoun has only had 2 at bats. He has a 500 ISO. So, okay. I mean, obviously, we're talking about 2 at bats, but the rest of the team, all zeros and red lights across the board. Hard for me to back Arizona. So, if we're looking for maybe an under in the first 5 innings, this game would stick out like a sore thumb in that manner. And since we're talking about afternoon baseball out in Arizona, I'm not sure if that roof is actually going to be open, considering, yes, it still is the desert. So that I didn't get an update on whether or not it would be open. But if it's closed, that would be an advantage to the pitchers. And I'm trying to get a quick look here at one of the adjustments here. It looks like it is closed. So there you go. So you're going to have some air conditioning out in the desert. So an under might be a decent look here, Kyle. What are you looking at? Yeah. Because the bats aren't much to look at for those D-backs.
No, they are not. And the under is absolutely the call here. Both pitchers have very good success and very good splits against either team. I think the under first 5 makes a whole lot of sense. We're We're seeing more Nerfies in the chat box. I think you could take a splash at that on here as well. There was a time where when I saw a left-handed pitcher against Nick Ahmed for Arizona, I was like, oh, this guy's going to get me a home run. He's going to be super cheap. God, he's so bad. Now, I do think he's a value bat if you're looking for a guy under 3,000 on DraftKings or under 2,500 on FanDuel, which is about the line there. Maybe a Nick Ahmed if you're looking to pay down as a one-off here because he does have a nice splits against lefties. And there was a time where he would hit home runs off of lefties, believe it or not. I promise you that time used to exist. But other than that, picking a side on this is absolutely dangerous. I'm with Donnie and Jason. Unders here, and maybe even a Nerfie.
And we take a look, and it says Robert Nash says, well, Peralta hits lefties.
The only one.
Yeah, well, I'm going to read this to you, and we'll see if he hits lefties here. David Peralta, back in 2019, had an ISO of 133, below average versus lefties, and a 307 weighted on base average, which is below average. If we go to the 2020 season for David Peralta, gets better, right? ISO 0.065, which is horrendous, and a weighted on base average of 0.271, which is equally horrendous. If we move towards the 2021 season, David Peralta, he's had 3 at-bats so far, has a 0 ISO and a 290 weighted on base average. So he's been horrendous the past, I don't know, maybe in 2014.
It's 3 years. I was looking at the wrong screen. Sorry to cut you off, but I was looking at the wrong screen. Peralta's weighted OPS versus lefties over the last 3 years is only 626, 16 points less than righties. So no, David Peralta does not hit lefties. And there we go. There's some good fact checking on
That's
the
okay, though.
show.
Yeah, that's what we got. Yeah, it's like a political show. Like you see some stuff come up there, and it might say, hey, you know what? Peralta does hit lefties. No, he doesn't hit lefties. I don't know. Maybe. So maybe in an alternate universe. But all good, though. We always like to correct because we care, as we like to say here. We don't correct to make fun. We correct because we care about information. But anyway, let's keep going down the list. Doubleheader again. How about this one? I bet we can't wait to dig our teeth into this one. Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles opened up with John Means Business, minus 118 at Pinnacle, still sitting at minus 118. If we look at the over-under, 8.5, still currently sitting at 8.5, which is interesting to me because if we're looking, I believe this game is a doubleheader, correct?
Yes,
it is a doubleheader, but still has. See, that should tell you everything. We're looking at an 8.5 as an opener, and Pinnacle's still showing an 8.5, but I see 6.5. So do your due diligence on where you're betting these games at, because I assume the 6.5 is correct, and the 8.5 are listed as errors here. So we'll start with that game. Sheffield and Means, both lefties on the mound here for you, Jason. What are we looking at?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I think the series is pretty interesting. I like Sheffield. I think he's a great pitcher. I think his strikeouts will get there. I think I saw 4.5. The Orioles can definitely strike out a ton against Sheffield in this game. He's a guy that gets a lot of ground balls, not really high strikeouts, but probably higher strikeouts in this game. Really doesn't allow too many home runs. And, Means has looked a little bit better as well this year compared to last year. He was really unlucky and just really had a poor year last year for the Orioles, just the entire team, really. But I like Sheffield in the first game, and if we're looking at the second game, I would look at the over. But again, it's so hard because who knows who's going to be in the lineup. So again, like everyone says in this show, we don't really like to bet doubleheader. So I'm off these games. We'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be a split in terms of the Mariners win game 1 and the Orioles win game 2.
Like if I'm looking at this game early and you're just trying to use conjecture on what happened between that abbreviated season and this year. Seattle is awful versus lefties. I mean, absolutely horrendous. We're looking at weighted on base averages here. And this is the starting 9 that we're looking at today. 212, 281, 288, 285, 304, 260, 287, 211, and 266. 320 is the average. That's you're an okay baseball player. All 9 batters are horrendous, according to Major League Baseball numbers. So good luck with this one. Are we looking away for just say, hey, I'm contrarian. They all stink, which means they're going to hit today, Kyle.
Oh, God. I try to do that. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things to do in the entire world, and I can't talk myself into it. Obviously, neither of these games factor into the DFS slate, so you don't have to worry about that. It was interesting what they did. They because I believe yesterday it was Creamer versus Sheffield, and they just changed it around a little bit and put him later on in the day. Yep. I do like Sheffield a lot, but Donnie's right. Seattle can't hit lefties, so I'm not maybe an under first 5 there makes some sense because I think Sheffield will have some success against that Baltimore lineup as well. So I guess I sort of lean Jason's way here. Early game Seattle, late game Baltimore, but really what I would lean to is just under first 5, and me personally, none of my money will be on either of these games. It's like these games never existed until I see the stats afterwards in my book.
By the way, we sit here on April 13th. Love that baseball season, this fact, but they're starting to cut grass around my house, and I am getting annihilated with my allergies. And as a rite of passage until we get out to like the mid-May range, it is what it is with all the flowers in bloom. Let's keep going here. 9:51, 9:52, 6:35 start tonight. San Diego and Pittsburgh. Yeah, you like those Pittsburgh at-bats? Good luck to you here because Snell is going to be on the mound dealing from the left-hand side, and this is why a road team in Major League Baseball opens up at 221 at Pinnacle and now sits at 235. Some of the New Jersey books as high as 255 as a favorite on San Diego. Opening line at 7.5 for a total. It's currently sitting at 7.5. Are we jumping into the pool here and taking a Pittsburgh underdog here, Jason? I don't think so, but maybe you are.
No, look, Chad Kuhl. 7 innings so far this season, 7 runs off just 3 hits. Well, where are you getting the runs from? 8 walks to 7 strikeouts.
Oof.
That's miserable. He's walking more than striking out, and of course, the pitch count gets high, he gets out of the game, and then you get the Pittsburgh bullpen, not any better. Yeah, I like the Padres here. I think over 4.5 team total is a great play at -130. I also agree with the Padres, -0.5 in the first 5. But just know, like, the Padres, they've been really good at working out walks. They'll get on base, but can they get those big hits? That's the question here. Again, Kuhl's not letting many hits. He's just walking a lot of batters, and that's what's really kind of hurting him. Of course, some big hits with runners on base, and that scores 3 or 2 runs, and you get your half your team total or whatnot. So, yeah, I like the Padres here, but not enough for me to actually take it. I think there's better games on this slate that I'm going to like. That we'll talk about in a bit. So nothing for me, but yeah, cool. 3 hits, 8 walks, 7 innings, 7 runs. It's a weird stat line.
Yeah, based on the last 2 years, if you take a look at the abbreviated season last year and early this year, Chad Kuhl obviously has struggled, but you should be able to get some damage done out of Grisham, Cronenworth, Machado, Hosmer, and Myers. Elevated weighted on base average and ISOs. Is that enough to pull the string here for you, Kyle, in any DFS action? Or are you saying, you know what? I stand with those fighting Colin Morans, who is he's not even in the lineup today. No. Lights out. See you, Pittsburgh. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, no. Well, the only way you can bet this side is you can take that Padres team total if you want, and you can take. Oh boy, I think we have a live update in the Red Sox, but we can take the Padres first 5. You're getting that -150, and that's sort of the threshold.
That was a
bad
update by you.
Oh, was it a bad update? I didn't see what happened. I just saw your face, so I assumed something bad had happened to your 4-run. To your
no, it looked like it was about to be a home run, so it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Terrible update. There we go. Dude. But I will say the lefties in this Padres order, like Donnie mentioned, Hosmer, Cronenworth, Grisham, also Manny Machado right there. Real 50-50. Hits righties pretty well. So you've got some good power and some good upside and some good splits in the middle of the lineup. I'll take the first 5 -0.5 at -150, and I think that you could take a splash on this Padres team total as I'm looking at an updated number here at, if I could find it and read, we're looking at 4.5. I think the Padres can get to over 4.5 too. You're not touching the Pirates here. Snell should dominate them. Love Blake Snell in DFS today. I think he has big time upside in this game. It's Padres or bust for me. Get a better number. Take the first 5 or take the team total -125 over 4.5.
Also saw Fernando Tatis taking some cuts in the batter's box earlier today before the game, which is a good sign. So hopefully back sooner than later. We'll see the second game of the doubleheader, 9:67, 9:68. Margevicius on the mound, the lefty for the Seattle Mariners, and Kramer on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles favored once again between -137 and -140, depending on where you're shopping at. And also lines differentiate. You got 6s, 6.5s, 7s across the board. Maybe you can get some runs in this game, but we're looking at some bad lineups here. Staying away completely for me, as usual, on a doubleheader. But we don't even know who the second half of these lineups are, Jason. Any looks here, any guesses, I should say, between Seattle and Baltimore, game 2?
Yeah, I would assume Baltimore is able to get a couple home runs in this game. So I would think that, and we don't know the lineup, so that's the thing. But I think the Orioles can definitely get. Is that out there? Or is that close? Oh, another one. Unbelievable.
Oh, man.
Unbelievable.
This is really getting me upset right now with these class.
Wow.
My God. Juice the baseball.
That's a better update, by the way, people. Yeah. That's how you do the update. There you go.
But yeah, I think Baltimore probably gets a home run or 2 in this game. We've seen their offense. It is capable. and I think it will do enough against Seattle in that second game. So give me Baltimore, but again, I don't bet doubleheaders, so make it quick and easy there.
Quickly here, Kyle, Seattle and Baltimore. What do we like? Do we love it? Do we hate it? Do we move on?
We hate it. It's a complete stay away. We did discuss how bad Seattle is against lefties. I believe Kramer's a lefty, right? So maybe you favor Baltimore here just a little bit. That's about all I would say about this game.
Well, he is a righty, so forget that game.
So forget all that. Okay. Why was I thinking of him as a lefty? For some reason, I had Kramer lefty. I don't know. Just stay the hell away from these double.
We have 34 pitchers, so it gets tough.
It gets, like my brain is high blood pressure, folks.
No need to waste some more time on Seattle, Baltimore doubleheader, which I think us three talking about as more fans that will actually be in the stands for both of those games combined. 969, 970. We're heading back down to Florida. Yeah, the Yankees won yesterday. But something is rotten to the core with that lineup as they face Hyun-Jin Ryu today, the lefty. It's Jameson Taillon versus Ryu. Opened up as a slight favorite here to Toronto at -120 at Pinnacle Offshore. Now sits at -110. You're getting pretty much a coin flip across the board. Over-under hasn't changed at 9. Small ballpark. We know we usually get some good, decent weather down there in Dunedin. But I have to tell you, when you usually see a Yankees line like this, you're like, how can I find a way to take the Yankees, as a team? That lineup stinks. You know how I would take this team tonight? If Judge and Stanton didn't play, I would be interested in the Yankees tonight. Your thoughts here on this game between these two in the AL East, Jason?
Yeah, I agree. I think both offenses might struggle in this game. I would look at the under 5 in the first 5 innings. Jameson Taillon looked kind of good in his opener. 4.2 innings against the Orioles. He allowed 2 runs off of 2 home runs, but he still had 7 strikeouts, no walks. Obviously, just had 2 grounders to 8 fly balls. So as we get more data on him, we'll know a little bit more of what he's capable of and what he's going to be consistent with. So again, this is a stay away game for me. Ryu is usually good for a quality start. He might allow a couple runs, but usually good for a quality start, and does fine against the Yankees. So under 5, I think in the first 5 would be solid. But, remember, the Blue Jays don't really strike out too much against righties. So how is Jameson going to pitch? That's the biggest question mark here. And that's really the reason why I'm staying away from this game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And again, Kyle, I'm going to bring you in here and talk a little bit about this lineup for the New York Yankees. 2021 season, not a lot of at-bats against lefties, but they've been poor. LeMahieu's been poor. Stanton has been abysmal. Aaron Judge actually has good numbers this year in limited at-bats against lefties. Gleyber Torres is horrendous. And the same thing with the bottom of this lineup. Urshela, 0.00 ISO. Frazier, 0 ISO. Odor, 0 ISO. I'm not used to this from a Yankees lineup. I can't back them until they get their act together here. What are you looking at?
Yeah, really, it's a stay away game for me, and I agree. But I will say, if I'm picking a side, all the numbers line up for the Yankees. Every single one of them will line up for the Yankees. It really does. So I'm sitting here, when I first looked at this, I'm like, damn, I just want to take the Yankees and tell everyone to take the Yankees. And then I'm like, holy crap, they couldn't hit a volleyball if it was being pitched at them right now. I don't know what the hell to do with this. The numbers dictate. They've actually been very, very good against Ryu as well. Only one of his last 4 starts has he gotten over 13 fantasy points. So he's been getting absolutely torched by this team. The Judges, the Stantons, they all have advantage. Even Gary Sanchez, who I hate to play in DFS, he's 2 for 4 lifetime with 2 home runs. So everything is saying to me Yankees, but I'm a coward and I can't get behind it till I see it. But I would say, if you're a Yankees fan, or you're an AL East fan, or this is the only game you can watch and you want to bet it, I would lean Yankees.
Yeah. It's hard not to, isn't it? You see the price on the Yankees, it's like a foreign number. Like, wait a second here. Yeah. But it is what it is right now. As I like to say with the Yankees lineup, until they start hitting, and I see somebody in the chat box, 1 every 3 games isn't good enough. That Yankees lineup, you don't have to rake. They don't need 8 runs every night, but at least be competent. And the guys you are paying an exorbitant amount of money out here, not doing anything. So we'll see if it happens. And again, as I said, Aaron Judge does have some decent numbers against lefties, but this isn't a tomato can lefty that you're dealing with tonight as well. It is a small ballpark. It flies out of there. See if the Yankees might be able to finally take advantage of that as we see. 971, 972, Texas and Tampa Bay. Last night in the Tampa Bay game, I said, hey, I'm throwing a shot out here. I need to think they're going to get a no-hitter. Just have to settle for a shutout. And again, if you are playing Texas and you want to bet Texas, you get exactly what you get when you bet on Texas. Tonight, Gibson versus Yarbrough. Not a great pitcher, Yarbrough, the lefty, but again, they are favored -170 to -180 across the board. And the over-under from 8.5 to 7.5 at Pinnacle, that's because of Texas. They can't hit anything. Tampa Bay or nothing for me, or Jason. What are you looking at?
Yeah, and Ryan Yarbrough, he's a lefty pitcher, and the big bats in that Texas lineup, they're all lefties, which obviously fares well for Yarbrough. But I did fade Gibson last time, and Kyle he told me maybe not to, and he was right on that one. Gibson might be a better pitcher here, but again, the better bats are obviously with Tampa Bay. So either way, I called the under in the first 5 yesterday in that game, and we had the no-run first inning in that game, and we were right on the money because Donnie said that Glasnow might get a no-hitter, and he had 14 strikeouts. We were right on the money there. But look, under 4.5 first 5, probably the best way to go, especially with these two offenses. Not really a fan of either of them, and maybe Tampa Bay can score a couple runs, but you can't rely on Texas at all. So under 4.5 in the first 5 would be the best bet in this game for me.
I think maybe a sneaky team total here on Tampa Bay at home. Now, they're only going to get 8 at bats because they're probably going to end up beating the Texas squad today, which I laugh, and it's not nice to laugh, but I look at the lineup and it's just like, this is pretty funny out here. But this is something we saw coming before the season started. Like, boy, Texas is like, we got a new ballpark, and we're going to be like Pittsburgh this year. Just come out and enjoy the new ballpark, and we're going to get rocked, not hit. It's going to be boring. But hey, again, we have a nice new ballpark, so why don't you come see it? Looking at the numbers here for the Tampa Bay squad coming into it, you got a lot of lefties here, and on an early season, not a lot of at-bats, but some of the lefties have done some damage here against the sinker baller, Kyle Gibson. And we're talking about lefties that are supposed to be in the lineup tonight. Tsutsugo's a lefty, Meadows a lefty, Lowe is a lefty, Wendell is a lefty, and Phillips is a lefty as well. Actually, I said it wrong here. I apologize, Jason. Brandon Lau.
I thought you were going to say Susudio, because that's what you said wrong. That's Susudio.
They're both in the game now.
What the hell is going on here?
We got a Lau and a Lowe both playing in that same game now.
That should be illegal. Like those
Texas,
two guys, like they should have like the hyphen, like the phonetic sounds on the back of their jersey. Like it should be L-A-U for Lau and L-O-W-E for Lowe. I mean, get it right, people out there. Yeah. But anyway, looking at this game coming into it, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it is your turn, Kyle, to quote this game. Or did I miss Jason?
Studio. Jason, did you go over this game already?
Yes.
Oh, no, you did. He did. He talked about Kyle Gibson and how much Kyle Gibson sucks. He did have one good game, but let me tell you this. Kyle Gibson sucks. It's Rays or nothing for me. I love the Rays first 5. I think you're getting a nice number here. Minus Rays first 5, minus 115. I will take that. Ryan Yarbrough, actually, his last 2 starts against the Rangers combined 64 fantasy points, which is really, really good for him. I do think you could see him get into the 5th inning. He's actually done that in each of his first 2 starts this year, the 5th and the 6th inning. I don't have a single player for Texas marked on my DFS player pool. Not a single one. Not a single one. Texas is so bad. Yarbrough should be able to do very well. So he's a nice value pitcher on DraftKings. Then you look at Tampa Bay. I got the Phil Collins. I got the Susudio, what we're talking about. I got him in the player pool. Joey Wendell, nice splits. Meadows, you guys mentioned it. All the players. Even Zunino against righties is a little bit better. Actually, much better. Twice as good. As a matter of fact, if you're looking for value at the end of the order. First 5. Tampa Bay minus 115, I think, is a great number, and I'm all over it.
Yeah, a lot of lefties in the lineup for Tampa Bay. They should be able to win this game. I do believe that as well. And next game, we're going to talk about 7:20 NL East, the Miami Marlins with Lopez on the mound versus Atlanta, and Fried, the lefty, opened up again. Here we go. Opened up at minus 185 as a favorite to Atlanta. That crashes down to 155. Same thing we saw yesterday. And I said, I believe in that line. That line is right. And the Marlins have a legitimate chance to win, and they end up winning that game. I have the same belief again tonight because if you're just looking at the Atlanta lineup as a whole with the names, boy, they're awesome. They've been flat out trashed this year at the plate. Outside of Acuna and Freeman, the rest of that lineup leaves a lot to be desired. And this is another spot I think Miami can be competitive as a dog here, Jason. What are you looking at between the Braves and the Marlins tonight?
Yeah, I think under 4.5 in the first 5. Another solid play there. And maybe even no runs first inning if you guys are into that.
Everyone's into Nerfies. That's what everyone wants. That's all anybody wants now is Nerfies. That's it.
But look, Miami, they've had success versus lefties last year. Look at Rojas, Cooper, Duvall, Chisholm, Wallach. This year, in limited sample size, that has not been the case. But they're capable. We'll see if they're able to do anything. But obviously, you don't really want to put any money on Marlins if you don't think they're going to be able to score any runs. And that hasn't been the case against lefties. They haven't been able to score. But I think it's been like 2 games where they faced the lefties. So, and then like Donnie said, Acuna, Freeman have been really the only 2 batters for the Braves that have really held their own. But, I mean, if you go back to last year, there was a little bit of Acuna, Darno. They all had high weighted OB8 versus righty. So there's potential there for both teams, but so far offensively, neither of these teams have been great. So I would look at under 4.5 in the first 5. I do think the Braves are a little undervalued here. I think Max Fried might be getting a little bit. I think he's a better pitcher than I think the lines are giving him credit for. So far, it hasn't shown that this season, but I think he'll be much better throughout the season.
Yeah, we take a look at Fried on the mound here, Kyle. Last year, dominated. He's a lefty, dominated right-handed batters. But then if you flip over to the short season this year, faced 28 batters from the right-hand side, and they are gutting him. So you're going to get a lineup tonight anticipated. Rojas, Marte, Aguiar, Cooper, Anderson, Duvall, and Wallach are all going to be righties. So 7 out of the 8 eligible batters will be from the right-hand side. Is that going to make a difference for you tonight? Or is this one where you say the Atlanta Braves, obviously more talented, haven't put it together, blew one last night, they need to come back for a winner? But also I have to say this, Atlanta's one of those teams I have in my back pocket. When we start getting 85 degrees down in Atlanta, they are going to hit and be a great team, total team. Let's see if it starts tonight, but I don't know if it does. That good young, Latino pitching staff for the Marlins does some damage, and I think they can win this game tonight. What are you looking at here?
Marlins are my favorite plus money spot of the night. I think the Marlins got a great shot. When you're looking at just the sample sizes, first of all, Fried's last 4 starts against the Marlins, -3, 12, 11, and then he did have a 21. So this projected lineup has actually torched him. The projected lineup, 17 of 53 lifetime with a 321 average. Then you go over here and you look at Pablo Lopez. This is one of the bigger sample sizes on the slate in terms of hitters who are going to be in the lineup versus a pitcher. Only 20 of 101 lifetime. That's a 198 average, the projected lineup tonight. In 4 of his last 5 starts, he has over 39 fantasy points, did have one meltdown, and got a -10.
I remember that one.
Okay, so you'll remember that probably middle of last year, late middle of last season.
They scored like 25 runs in that game.
Exactly, and he got a -10. But other than that, he's absolutely. And 2 starts after that game, so after you have the meltdown, he came back out with a 39 and a 30. So he's pitched well against his team. The lineup struggles against it. There's a few advantages for the Braves. I have some players. You got to put Freddie Freeman in every player pool right now. He's just so red hot. I know he didn't get any points yesterday. And yes, Dansby Swanson, Travis d'Arnaud, who Ty talked about in the chat box, 3 home runs lifetime off of Lopez in 9 at bats. So that's kind of interesting there as well. That's an interesting value bat. But overall, I think the Marlins have a real plus money shot tonight. So I'll take the underdog spot and take the Marlins tonight.
All right, another underdog shot here. Check this out, 957, 958, Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. Woodruff, who's been a pretty good pitcher on the mound today, the righty for the Brewers going up against Hendricks. Over-under in this game now sits at 7.5 and even 7 at some outlets. Slight favorite here to Milwaukee. Opened up at Pinnacle at -140. That's down to -135 at some outlets, New Jersey outlets, around that 140 range. I do like Woodruff over Hendricks, but here's the issue for me. I don't know if I can trust those Chicago Cubs bats. Losers of 5 of 6, shutout, 2 runs, 4 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, 3 runs. That's not getting it done. I can't trust that Chicago Cubs offense. I like the Milwaukee Brewers tonight, Jason. What are you looking at here in this NL Central tilt?
One of those games was when Woodruff pitched against the Cubs. 7 innings pitched, allowed 1 hit against the Cubs, got 8 strikeouts, no walks, 74 pitches, just flew by that lineup. Really didn't struggle at all in that game. But you know what you get out of Hendricks. He's a quality pitcher as well. In his last start versus the Brewers, he allowed no runs in 6 innings. Looked a lot more like himself compared to that first start that he had. So, again, I think the under in the first 5 innings is the play here. I saw 4 earlier. I think it went down to now maybe 3.5. So maybe shop around and find that 4 or 4.5 if you want to pay the juice. But I think the under 4.5 is the play there. And another potential no runs first inning, of course, is there as well. But I do like the Brewers in the first 5. If they can get a run or 2 against Hendricks, they'll be in good shape. But, it's going to be hard to get a run in this game, especially early. But I think the Brewers lineup is finally starting to maybe get a little bit better now after the beginning of the season.
There you go. Cubs and Brewers. Kyle, what's your thoughts in this game?
Yep, I think this can be another nerfy. Both these pitchers have pitched really well against the projected lineups. We talked about sample size in the last one. Here's the one that's bigger. Kyle Hendricks lifetime against the projected Brewers lineup. That lineup's only 28 of 154 lifetime, a 182 average. 4 straight games where he's gotten 40 or more fantasy points. Then you come down to Woodruff, 17 at 92, only a 185 average. Both have very, very low weighted OPSs of 682 and 603. Under first five makes a lot of sense to me. I don't have either side in terms of batters in DFS, but I have both pitchers in my player pool. If you want to take a little plus money on the Cubs, I get it. I told you I don't bet the Cubs. It's not going to happen. Probably will never happen. I just simply can't do it unless they're in the playoffs and I have to. Slight lean, I guess, to the Cubs for that plus money, but both pitchers really good. I'll take that under first five. I think that's a good spot tonight.
977, 978 Detroit and Houston. Maybe a spot for Houston in a bounce back yesterday. Detroit, 6 runs on the board in a 6-2 victory over the Astros today. It's going to be Boyd the lefty versus Odorizzi the righty. Opened up Pinnacle at -175, has risen a little bit to -183 as a favorite for the Houston Astros. Some New Jersey sports books as high as -190 on the favorite. Astros, the total for the game opened up at 9, now sitting at 9s across the board. Spot here that we might be looking for an Astros play here, Jason?
Yeah, I like the Astros over 4.5 on the team total. Got it at around -130. This is a game where, like, even the Tigers might be able to get some runs in this game as well against Odorizzi, who had a 6.12 FIP last year, 6.59 ERA. So we wasn't sure. It was only like 4 games though, so obviously not a big sample size there. But the Astros so far this season, they've had some success against lefties. Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, even Alvarez, Gurriel, Carrera, like Straw even getting on base. These guys really don't strike out too often, and Boyd, kind of a strikeout thrower, 8.63 per 9, and then also walks 3.21. And allows nearly 2 home runs per 9. I think the Astros are able to get some runs in this game. The lineup looks really, really good. Again, they're going to get balls in play. Don't strike out. So you're going to get balls in play. And against Boyd, probably get a couple home runs as well. So, yeah, I like the Astros over 4.5 in the team total here.
Boyd's weighted on base average against hitters has been really good this year, but the more telling tale is that xFIP sitting around a 4.53. Even if we take it back to last year's, xFIP was over a 5, and right-handed batters absolutely torched him. So we're looking for him to come back a little bit towards the mean, because this year, coming off of left-handed pitching, not great statistics, Kyle, just yet for the Astros. But if we can look at last year, didn't strike out much against lefties and hit them pretty hard. What are we looking at between the Tigers and the Astros from your perspective here?
I got a lot of Astros in my player pool, so I'm inclined to take that team total. I really do like them. And look, I know they're struggling and all that, but Boyd, this isn't Boyd from a couple years ago where he was really, really good. I think he struggles in this matchup, and for that matter, Odorizzi's not that great either. He's just odorific now. He just stinks now, and he was good. But I will say his last 4 starts against the Detroit, 3 of those games he went 45 or above. So he does have some nice split series. Played good against his projected lineup. They're only 20 of 87 lifetime. But for me, it's Houston or bust. I love all the righties in that lineup. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters. Even Michael Brantley, who stinks against lefties, is 5 of 16 lifetime with a double here against Boyd. So even he sees the ball well out of the hand of Boyd. I think it's the Astros team total. Astros first 5. Not a bad number here at -120. So I think Astros first 5, Astros team total both make a ton of sense to me, and I love them in DFS as well.
Yeah, shopping around makes all the difference here. Looking at FanDuel here, sits at a 5 at -110 for Houston's team total. This was before the show started. DraftKings 4.5 at -139. Bet365 4.5 at -135. So shop around and get those numbers, because when we're talking team totals, every half run makes a major difference. And even if you pay for it, sometimes in those instances, it does make a whole lot of sense. Let's keep moving around here. Another interesting game here. Didn't get the runs I thought we might see last night. Cincinnati and San Francisco, 961, 962. Taking a look at the conditions today. Yesterday, we had that wind blowing around like 12, 13 miles an hour. It might be a little bit stronger tonight, but always blowing out the center field. That marine layer is tough to deal with. It's a pitcher's ballpark. So when you see these lineups coming into tonight, hey, maybe I can sort of pick on Kevin Gausman. He's been pretty good, though. Same thing with Castillo. There's a reason why this total in this game is 7.5 across the board and roughly a pick 'em. I'll start with you first in this one here, Jason. What are we looking at here with Cincinnati? Because I actually have Cincinnati as a legitimate chance at a team total here.
Yeah, of course, the Reds' offense has been one of the better offenses in the league so far. But, Gausman, he's been good. 2 starts, he's allowed just 2 runs combined, 1 in each start, 11 strikeouts and 13.2 innings pitched. And, that's what he did last year as well. Averaged 11.05 strikeouts per 9, 2.33 walks per 9, and under 1 home run per 9 as well. He did really well with runners on base and got out, 3/4 of the time. ground balls over 40%. So he's a good pitcher. So we'll have to see what happens. I think the Reds offense should be able to do enough to get 4 runs. So I agree with the Reds over 3.5 team total. And I think the Reds get the job done in the first 5 with Castillo on the mound, who looked a lot better in his second start compared to his first. And I know that was against the Pirates, but the Pirates are just kind of like the Giants offensively right now anyway.
Yeah.
So the Reds should do just fine with Castillo on the mound. So give me the Reds over 3.5 team total or the Reds in the first 5 in this game if I had to choose.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap looking at this as well. Because, again, Gausman has been decent. But when you take a look at batters that make sense against right-handed pitching, and Gausman's not that overpowering, super dominant Garrett Cole type starter. So we're taking a look at just this season alone. Look at that Reds lineup. The worst guy in it is actually funny, which he really shouldn't be, is Joey Votto at a 0 ISO and a 188 weighted on base average. Every other person's weighted on base average is extremely high. They should hit tonight. But it's San Francisco. It's always quirky in that ballpark. Didn't get it the 3.5 last night. San Francisco didn't even score. Difference in opinion tonight, Kyle, with the Reds and San Francisco? What are we looking at?
They should have got that team total last night, too. Absolutely got robbed on that. The Cincinnati Reds are the only team where I have all 8 of their hitters in my player pool tonight. I want to stack different versions of that. I don't know if it's the bottom of the order, the top of the order that gets it done. But I do think they get it done. It's my favorite team total of the day, Reds over 3.5. I absolutely love it. I think Castillo is good in terms of DFS as well against that struggling Giants lineup. And even Joey Votto, who you mentioned, who was struggling a little bit, 4 or 5 lifetime off Gausman, including a home run. Votto, not a big home run guy, as we know. Even he has a home run off him. Moustakas, huge advantages. Senzel, up and down the order. Even the righties, Suarez and Castellanos, have slight advantages here. Love the Reds tonight. Love that team total. First 5 full time. I'm all on the Reds tonight. I think they get it done. But really the bet for me is the team total over 3.5.
963, 964, the last game of the card, 10:10 start, East Coast time, 7:10 out west, Senzatella versus Bauer. Bauer had his baseball sent into Major League Baseball, so there's a conspiracy theory where he's not going to doctor him tonight, and there's a chance that you can get a good, shot at a monster dog, as we talk about an opening number at Pinnacle at minus 330, now down to 307. Some of the New Jersey sports books, including FanDuel, sitting at a minus 350 for the Dodgers, and a total of 8 across the board, Jason. I know what you're probably looking at in this game because it's not really a run line doesn't make sense for the Dodgers. Money line doesn't make sense for the Dodgers. Even a total in the game doesn't make sense, but one side might be able to do some damage here.
Yeah, I like the Dodgers over 4.5 on the team total. Got it at around minus 140. This matchup already happened with Senzatella. It was in Coors Field, of course, but he allowed 7 runs, 9 hits in 3.1 innings pitched against the Dodgers. Now taking on the Dodgers again, but on the road. And yes, he had a much better outing against the Diamondbacks. 8 innings pitched. I think he allowed just 4 hits, no runs, and got 16 ground balls. And Senzatella is a ground ball pitcher. You'll go down that Rockies pitching staff. They have a lot of ground ball pitchers. Why? Because they're in Coors Field, and that's what they need. They need ground ball pitchers. But when the Dodgers faced Senzatella in Coors Field, they got more fly balls. They got more heavy hard hit contact against Senzatella compared to the Diamondbacks. So I don't think the Dodgers will have 16 ground balls in this game, and Senzatella might not even be able to go 5 innings in this game. I like the Dodgers here. I'm not sure what the status is of Mookie Betts. I think there was talk that he could potentially come back tonight. If he's there, it's really good. If he's not, I still have the Dodgers here. They already faced him. They destroyed him. And, of course, when you're getting the team totals, you want team totals to go up against other bullpens that are really bad as well. Well, the Rockies, they're a bottom 15 bullpen so far this in the league in FIP. So I like the Dodgers here, over 4.5 team total. Go up against Senzatella, get a couple runs against him. He'll come out, you get some bullpen runs, and you'll be fine. Or just go out and score versus Senzatella. Either direction I'll take, but I would love it earlier than later because I would like to go to bed here on the East Coast.
There you go. That's always the fun for me to stay up late and try to watch some of these games. What are you doing staying up so late? And it is what it is. Mookie Betts is expected to be in the projected lineup tonight, leading off for the Dodgers. Kyle, last game of the night. What are we looking at here between the Rockies and the Dodgers?
So I lied. I thought that I didn't have another team where I have every batter in my player pool. Hey. The Dodgers would be that other team. I like the Dodgers. The problem is the numbers suck. If you want to take that run line and get it minus 145, 150, it's sitting around in that range somewhere. I guess that's the only way you're really getting value on this. Love the Dodgers in DFS, top to bottom. They have an advantage. I would expect Bauer to come out and throw his best stuff after a long week and a lot of nonsense being talked. Since when do we care about what they put on baseballs? They haven't cared about that since 1815, for Christ's sake. You know, they were sprinkling gold dust on it back then to blind the batters when they wore hats and, you know, the helmets were made out of the back of a buffalo. I mean, give me a break here. But I'll take the Dodgers. I'll take the Dodgers run line. That's the only way you're going to get any value here. If you want to take them first 5 full time, I think they get it done. I don't mind their team total either. And every bat from top to bottom tonight has an advantage against Senzatella. Stack the Dodgers with confidence and have fun winning some money, because I think the Dodgers get it done relatively easy tonight.
All right, about 350 people watching live as we go over our last 2 segments. This one is some of the more fun that we have. Let's get another good night here on deck. Jason, going to start with you first. Best bets and bankers tonight for you, good sir.
I'm going with some heavy team totals. Astros over 4.5 on the team total at -130. And also, of course, the Dodgers over 4.5 on the team total at -140. So just get me 10 runs tonight, and I'll be real happy between these two.
There you go. 10 runs is what it might take here. Take a look here, Kyle. What do you have tonight? Best bets and bankers on your card tonight.
I love the Reds team total over 3.5. I'm taking that. And if I had to take one more, I will go ahead and just to get a better number, I'll take the Rays first 5 against Texas as well, -120.
I'm going to take a shot here. I'm going to go with more pain, keep the juice as low as we can possibly get it. I'm going to take those Washington Nationals in St. Louis, team total over 3.5 +100, currently sitting at BetMGM. Flaherty is a really good pitcher, there's no question about it. But this year coming into it, taking a look from a right-handed side, 26 batters, 361 weighted on base average, and a 364 ISO. XFIP a little bit raised. I'm taking a look from the Nationals' perspective here, not because I love their lineup, because it hasn't performed all that well. But you're not going to perform all that well with 3 or 4 players out of your lineup from your day-to-day starting 9. It ain't the Dodgers here who don't care who's in the lineup. They still get 5 runs tonight. I saw yesterday Schwarber coming back, nice game. Bell coming back, nice game. Those guys projected to be in. So now when we look at that Nationals lineup, Robles, Turner, Soto, Bell, Schwarber, Castro, Harrison, and Avila, it's a legitimate lineup. Not asking for a lot of runs here. Going to be on the road, get a full 9 at-bats. I'm going to take the team total Washington Nationals over 3.5 at +100 for tonight. So those are our best bets and bankers. Now it's time to clear those bases and get out of town here. Fun show, 17 games, right around an hour. We did well, Jason. We did well today.
Yeah, we did well. And looks like we got some more action going in the Twins-Boston game. We're going to have action all day long. It's going to be really fun today. Lots of baseball, lots of exciting stuff going on. So, yeah, it's going to be great.
Kyle, I am buying low on the Nationals, hopefully to buy the dip, as we like to say. Only way up we can go. Give me 4 runs tonight. I'm looking forward to a good night in Major League Baseball. 17 games all across the board, a lot of doubleheaders. Should have a good night tonight, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and if your Red Sox can go ahead and get some guys home, maybe you'll be rocking and rolling there too. I love all that. I've seen the chat box, any Nerfies. I feel like I talked about like 7 Nerfies. I can't even remember them all. White Sox, Indians? What was another one we liked? I can't even freaking remember anymore. You're going to have to go back and rewatch it. But I know Jason and I between us talked about like 7 Nerfies. Yeah. So they're in there, rock and roll. I wish I could remember them all, but I'm really just focused on my blood pressure right now. That's it.
Nope, and I'm focused on Jessica saying that she's having my child here in the chat box. So now I got to have extra child support. That means I really got to win the game tonight. No question about it. Help me out here. I need some runs. My goodness. Well, thanks, guys, for tuning in once again to a fun episode. And we will continue tomorrow. When? 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And guess what? Tomorrow. You want to talk about talking one baseball game? We got as many as 5 that will be live the minute we go tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. A full Major League Baseball card right here at sportsbook.com. And I am looking forward to it. For Donnie Seymour, which is me, Jason Radowitz, and also Kyle Purviance, we are sportsbook.com. And this was your Major League Baseball show for Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.